I want to greet each and everyone in this meeting. I want to start by welcoming everyone, even the people that are online, the listeners, the residents. I just want to find out from the team, is Councillor Weil, did he logged in, and Councillor Hilton Strubel? I see there, Mr. Hilton Strubel, can you hear me? Councillor Strubel? He's went out. Councillor Weil? So we can't continue with the meeting for now. We're just waiting for the other councillors to come in so we can have a quorum. I don't know, can you just find out where's Councillor? Can you send the link for Councillor Petros? Can you deal with Councillor Charlie and also Councillor Heaton and Councillor Lavelle Davids? Councillor Rassen Arons is here around. Arons is around. You can just find out the director, where is Councillor Arons, please, man, because then we can start. I see also there's a gentleman in front of me. I don't know who the gentleman is, but we will deal with it when we come to that point, but it's fine. Thanks. Can we just wait another 5 minutes, then we can start with our meeting. This department, they deal directly with our community, and housing is a need in our communities. So I also want to, if someone, I see there's a SM, can you just explain to me who that person is? Okay, thanks, is just in front of me, but it's fine. Okay, I see it now because I can't see so far from here. Okay, thanks, Mr. So, Maria. But first of all, I also want to welcome the director planning in my meeting. I also want to director Mr. Richards in my meeting as the housing director. With the staff, I see we have a full complement of staff today in the meeting. With Parks, that is representing Mr. Douglas in our meeting. Like what I'm saying, I don't know, they just come in and out, in and out. I don't know from which department they're coming in and out, but now I go, director. Are you finished? Do you introduce Sibo also? Okay, thanks. Is there any 2.6 members of the audit committee present? Is there any member present of the audit committee? Staff? No one. Members of the public, I don't see anyone of the public here. Point number 3, noting the provision of the Schedule Code of Conduct for Councillors of the Local Government Municipality System Act 32 of 2000 and Code of Conduct for Ethnical Leadership is adopted by Council. Can we go with it? Yes. Point number 4, before we go to point number 4.
Chair, can I just comment, Chair?
Yes.
Related to ethics and conduct. You know, Chair, I have not. The first time I received this agenda was today. I don't know if somebody made a mistake and didn't send it to me, but I have requested it, but I only received the agenda today, this morning, in fact. So luckily I've been able to read. I'm a quick reader and I've been able to read it, but I want to please convey my disappointment in the fact that I only received it this morning, and I don't know how we can apply our mind. And you know, we're always complaining about this in council meetings, but here it's happening again in this committee. So I just want to, Chair, ask you to please ensure that this doesn't happen again, because we want to be seeing as engaging in these items, and we can't really unless we get these items on time. So just to comment there, thank you, Chair, for that, and I know that you will clarify this.
Thanks, Councillor. Well, I will deal with that after our meeting with my directorate, so we can finalize out where was the hiccup. Now, I don't say it's you, director. I said we will find out where is the hiccup. You know, if it's for communication or was it from our department, but we will deal with it. Thanks, Councillor Vale, for that. I see there's someone on. Who's that person? Okay, no, it's fine. Can we go to 4.1, the minutes of the previous meeting? Can we go over the minutes? Members?
Yes.
Thanks. Thanks, Mr. Councillor Lavelle. Thanks, Councillor Arons. We go over the minutes. We have point number 5.1. Before we start there, I want the director just to take us so we can move and explain to us. Thanks. 5.1. That is where we are, the director. 5.1 is the progress report on the social housing program.
Again, good morning, councillors. I'm going to ask Landile to introduce the item. He's the lead on our social housing, and also to introduce the consultant. Thank you.
All right, good morning, Chairperson, good morning, everyone. Item 5.1 deals with our social housing program, and the item that is in front of us now is in terms of the support program. SHRA, Social Housing Regulatory Authority, has decided to support us in the implementation of our social housing program. And in that implementation, they then appointed a service provider to assist us with the drafting of a strategy for social housing purposes to make sure that we implement. As you know, that we have not implemented one social housing project since the Honley project. So Renier Mini from Cada Plan is a town planner that has been appointed by SHRA, is not appointed by council. I know there are sometimes questions on the use of consultants from council side. SHRA is assisting us. They have appointed the consultant to assist the municipality. Thank you, Chairperson.
Thank you, Manager, Director. I also want to say thank you for allowing the consultant to come and give us a full report around the progress that we want to make as the Knysna municipality. So don't worry about what was happening previously. You are more than welcome to present to us because it's long overdue that Knysna municipality doesn't have social housing programs or projects in the municipality. That will be the first social housing project that we want to run is the Knysna municipality, while other towns already have started with it. So it means we are about 30 years behind as Knysna municipality. And when I was swearing as the MMC, I said that we must unlock all these outstanding projects that we are supposed to do. We must unlock that. And I want to say to the directorate, doing that, because I know also by appointing the consultant, it's not the money that they have come from us. So we are very clear on that it is not money that we want to use, that you use. We receive it, and we also receive someone that will come and present to us. So I will give over to you, director, then we can start.
Yes, I was just going to make a minor point, and that is you will see even in the title, I have allowed for half an hour plus for the item. So the consultant will also ask a few questions of us to respond, because we want to fast track. The ideal situation is that we want in January, he was come back in January with a full plan. And in order to facilitate that process, there will be a few questions that he would ask, and just to get some guidance from councillors so that we can integrate that. The first part would be a small workshop.
Okay, thank you. The floor is yours, Mr. Murray.
Thank you very much, Councillor. Thanks, Chair. Thanks, officials, for the opportunity to be with you here today. And sorry for the misunderstanding. My name is Rainier Mini. So Sean Marie, I'm not sure who that was. That's the SM on there. But thank you very much. Rainier Mini is my name. And I'm privileged to be with you here today. I want to start off by saying households that earn less than 4,000 Rand a month, or what they call BNG housing, and maybe you can call it RDP housing. That's sort of where the older people will call it RDP, the younger people will call it BNG. Households that earn more than 22,000 Rand a month qualify for a bond. They can obtain a bond from a bank. Households earning between 4,000 Rand and 22,000 Rand are the neglected portion of our society. It's people that's got a job, but they can't afford to buy a house. Is called the gap market, and the gap market, there is finance-linked individual subsidy that's provided by government, but it's sometimes difficult for people to access. The other option is rent, and the majority of those people rent. Now, the fact that they rent, they are often forced to rent in places which is far away removed towards what they can afford. And what social housing want to do is provide a market, but that is better located in terms of opportunities. So I'm going to take you through the presentation. I trust everybody can see the screen. What I would like to take you through element is how we are approaching the support that's provided by the Shira. We've got a phased approach. I'll provide a bit of context. We are talking about a social housing strategy. That is what we are talking about. And we are still in the brainstorming phase, but you will see from the program that we want to do strategy support components that I would like to discuss today is, first of all, our proposed table of contents for the document, the strategy document itself. How do we select land that qualifies for social housing? And then last, how do we partner with role players that can deliver social housing quick? So the first thing is our phased approach. We have engaged with your officials, and we've done a needs assessment, and it was agreed that we need to deliver first a strategy on what we want to deliver, especially in the next 5 years. So what do the officials need to do in the next 5 years, and how are we going to get social housing going in Knysna? Phase 2 of the project, we to look at the strategy and implementation plan. And that is a strategy for social housing, but how we're going to implement it. We also offered to support with terms of reference for specification if we want to partner with social housing institutes or other delivery agents. And then phase 3 deals with how do we operationalize land selection and bring land to the table and get a pipeline of projects ready. So just in terms of the Gantt chart on where we are, we've completed the needs analysis. We're in the brainstorming phase, and we wanted to actually be finished with this by the 27th of October. We are slightly behind. We're still there. But despite that, we would like to have a meeting where we will, over December and the whole of January, prepare a document and deliver it to yourselves so that council can adopt it in early. Our support will end at the end of March, although I can say the Shira is keen to continue the support depending on the performance of NAISNA. If NAISNA if there's indication that NAISNA is keen and the council has adopted programs and so forth, then there will, I believe that there will be continuation of support. But this is an annual decision by the Shira. There's indicative budget already allocated for 3-year support, so our support won't go away if the Shira approves, that significant progress is made. Already defined what social housing is. It's rental for a specific market. But I would like to say that social housing is not only about providing accommodation. Social housing is about restructuring. Social housing is about local economic development. And I often think that in our municipalities, I was in a municipality for long myself, LED has become small projects, a car wash project here, and that's not what LED is. LED should be creating an enabling environment so that more people can get into business, get opportunities where there are opportunities. And often that's to do with land use rights and getting land use rights in place so that the economy don't have blockages. But it's also about restructuring and providing people with the opportunity to live close to opportunity so that they don't have to travel that far to get to these opportunities of work. Now, and for that reason, how the Shira works is they only approve projects that restructuring zones. So the one thing that NAISNA already did is there are restructuring zones that are gazetted, and you see those green lines in the screen. So that is the locations where these social housing projects could immediately be located. It's not to say that you can't consider bringing new restructuring zones to the table, but that takes time. And maybe it can be part of your 5-year plan to get more restructuring zones gazetted. But if you want to get implementation going quick, then you need to focus on those restructuring zones that are already gazetted. So that provides a bit of context. I'm going to now look at the strategy components. So this is what we are proposing for this document that will be delivered end of January, beginning of February, so that and it can go through your committee hopefully again and be taken to mayoral committee and council. So the contents that we are providing, it's a succinct document. It will be short, and the purpose is to get to implementation earlier. So if you can just follow the orange line and the blue line, first the background and context, then a situational analysis, then a strategic framework, what do we want to achieve, and then an implementation framework. And that's the outline of the document that we propose. So if we go back to the background and context, that's just legally what can we do. What's the current policy of the municipality? How do the municipality see itself in terms of spatial, where things should happen? And then situational analysis, it is embedded in demand. Is there a demand for these projects? And I can say there is a demand, but is there land available that can meet that demand at that price? So that's sort of a bit of a demand study. And then we want to look at 4 sites immediately that the municipality has offered that we should investigate. And you see the 4 sites there. So we'll first test, but it's not to say that once we've got systems in place and we would like to assist with those systems, that we can't investigate more sites, but immediately we would like to investigate those 4 sites on the screen. So then it goes to the strategic framework. You know, how many units are we talking about? And there's another component which is called community residential units, and that's households earning less than 4,000 Rand a month, and that is then a rental for those that do not, you know, that's in the lower income brackets. So implementation framework, what incentives? And this is where I would like to pose a couple of questions, because social housing is a program that's funded by national government in a sense, and it is not the municipalities that's the implementation agent. It's always a social housing institution or other delivery agent. So this is social housing as a public-private partnership. That is what it is. Private sector, and the question is, if you partner with the private sector to enable social housing, what will the municipality provide to enable these better located? So we're talking about restructuring zones from the municipality, and the question is, do you have the capacity to manage these projects? So we need to put an organizational plan in place. We need to agree in the policy, and council need to adopt the model. So that we ensure that there's no corruption when things go out to tender, what's the rules of the game, and then also what it's going to cost, because it will cost money from the municipality to invest in social housing. And then how we're going to communicate all of this. In general, there's many people out in the private sector that fear social housing. We don't want the poor people to come and live here next door. All of that, and we need to communicate that, because social housing want to be in very well located areas, and we need to, the community also need to buy in to the fact that that we are not talking here homeless people. We think different, and there needs to be a bit of communication. How are we going to design these units? There needs to be specifications on how big they are. Now the SHRA's got codes and it's got guidelines and minimum requirements, but the municipality can also have minimum requirements. So that's the table of contents. Just quickly on the land selection maturity model. In terms of the land selection, those 4 sites, we'll go through them. We want to assess whether they are ready. We have found at the SHRA so many projects that are earmarked for social housing, and they're just not ready, and there's already 10 years in the pipeline and nothing is happening. You don't want that. You don't want to put in an application to SHRA for funding if the land is not ready. So therefore, we would like to assist in going through a process to test whether the land is available and then create a pipeline. Also to assist the municipality in making decisions. And therefore, we'll do a quick report on each one of these sites. And the way we do it is to go through 5 project phases. First, we check the minimum requirements. Then we look at the spatial considerations. Then we look at engineering services. Then we look at municipal agreements, and then we look at financial feasibility. So there's questions, and if a site's not ready in terms of one phase, it's marked, and the report will say that, and it will give an indication of the time frames of when those projects will be ready. Okay, so for instance, a project can't be financially viable if it doesn't have the land use rights. That's just so. So we first start with land use rights or minimum requirements, then land use rights, then engineering services. If there's no bulk engineering services, you can't have a project. You can have a project, but then you need to know that's not a short-term project. Okay, so to confirm the 4 sites that will be immediately investigated is then 568 and 571 in Knysna. I'm sorry, the map isn't very clear, but the site is there in the middle. Then the next one is Earth 1343 in Knysna, and we will have to discuss this with the town planner on where, town planners of the municipality on where exactly this is located, because the deeds data didn't give us an immediate answer. And then Earth 3534 in Knysna, and then the last one 4440. So that's the 4 sites that we'll immediately investigate. Then lastly, and this will be part of the strategy, if council agrees, we're proposing a smart partnership model. And how the model works is it entails the formulation of a partnership with SHI, Social Housing Institutes, or other delivery agents that will manage these social housing projects. We can have accredited delivery agents that can deal with larger projects, or you can also, if you want to bring in small SMMEs, have conditionally accredited delivery agents to go for smaller stock. I believe the focus should be first on people on companies that can, or SHIs, that's got a track record that can deliver projects quicker. This will obviously be a slower process, but it's not to say you can't engage on that. So there's 3 streams in the smart partnership model. The first one is forming partnerships. The second one is identifying the land and agreeing that it will be released. And then there's a project agreement on a specific land. So on the partnership formation, there needs to be procurement. It needs to go through your supply chain management process to then agree on partners that would have the capacity to deliver on social housing. Once you've got this, you've got sort of a panel of bidders that are allowed to bid that can deliver on social housing. On the other hand, the municipality goes through the land identification process and agree whether it's going to be transfer in full title ownership or it's going to be leasehold. What's the checks and balances to ensure that these partners are going to perform? What's the site development outcomes that you want? What's the density requirement? So that's on the one hand. And then the projects are put out for tenders for all your accredited SHIs to tender on those specific land parcels. So that's, in short, the proposed strategy. I think I will pause here, Councillor, and then after, for points of clarity or inputs, but on the other hand, I do have a couple of questions that I would like to ask from your officials, but especially the councillors as well. Thanks, Councillor.
Thanks. What is your surname?
Rainier.
Your name is Rainier.
My surname is Minnie. My
Minnie.
name is
Okay.
Rainier.
Rainier. I will remember the name Rainier because there's someone in my church with the name Rainier. But Director, you want to add something before I go over to the councillors and to Councillor Aubrey?
No, not at this stage. Just to say that councillors will know that we have a tender, that we have issued a tender to put together a panel of 3 companies. That is at the moment with the BEC. So part of the process that has been identified has already started. But councillors will also remember that we have identified the parcels of land which is now will be subject to the investigation, and they will be able to tell us. So I think in terms of where we are in relation to the council resolution, I think we're on time. And then the third thing I just wanted to add is we'll most probably come with another item at the next meeting, but there's also an incentive scheme that is being developed in the district. And I'm sure Renier is aware of that. I think he attended the last workshop. So there is an incentive scheme that the district is developing in order to provide support to the municipalities, obviously in the Eden district. Thank you.
Thank you, Director. Any councillor? Now you can start. The floor is yours. Councillor, will I see your hand is up?
Thank you, Chair. I 100% support this initiative. Number one, because we know that if you just do a basic property 24 search, you'll find that there's not enough accommodation in general for people. Number two, you'll find out that Neisner's accommodation is unaffordable to most people. And like Mr. Mini said, that it would be much easier on residents to pay a rental, that is much more affordable to live in a decent environment, in a dignified environment. So I'm 100% behind this, Chair. I just want to ask, in terms of the data that's informing this, do we know exactly how many people will benefit from such an initiative? The sites have been identified, but do we actually know what the demand is? I know the demand was mentioned, but do we actually have data going to happen? And and then also the other issue is there potential in the future for people to own? They'll be renting. We know that in some cases, especially for years and years, people then have an option to buy. I want to know if there is an option in this type of system or not. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you, Councillor Weil. What I'm going to do, Mr. Rene, I'm going to ask all the councillors to give the questions, and then you can just respond after that. Councillor Aubrey, your hand was up, and then Councillor Bonene.
No, very good morning to you and your committee. Also greeting the director as well as other councillors. Chair, I'm going to be just very short, because Mr. Presenter is not presenting anything new here. Yeah. My first question, Chair, in fact, what happened to the alternative housing solution that was presented here previously? Hence, I'm saying that this is not something, this thing is not new. I wanted to check, maybe if the director can assist. To those other presentations which you presented here, what happened? How far are we? Right? The second thing, my chair, I'm not going to dwell because, as I've said to you, Mr. Renier, Mr. Mini, there's nothing new, absolutely nothing new, which you are presenting here. What I really wanted to understand, that we need to balance the scale so that we can also accommodate them, right? So what I wanted to understand was, I remember some time ago, the very same chambers, we identify, very fortunate on your presentation, there is also, you mentioned about CBD, that's the CBD, you mentioned about Hedi Falei, and you also further mentioned about other portions which we need to investigate. So my question is, and we agreed, so that we also save you time, Mr. Renier, because this thing is not helping us. When we've got nothing to do, we come here and come and present the same thing. This thing is nothing new. On what we are presenting here, Mr. Mini. We are not presenting anything new. So my interest, Chair, we are not presenting anything new. So my interest, Chair, how far are we? We've got a layer. We don't have to investigate for all. You guys knows, the housing team knows exactly the pockets of land here. What we basically expect things to happen. You move the ball from the center. And the last thing which I want to raise on is what Councillor Levelle have just made mention of. Because I'm quite worried here. Some time ago, people have sold land to a company, Councillor Chair, there by the Fletcher. People were told that they are going to rent for a specific time. And towards the end of whatever, they are going to own those flats. Our people are still renting up until today. So what I wanted to understand, in fact, maybe it's going to be a waste of time. Let's leave other questions. I want to know, leave other things. Edifale and here in town, you don't have to respond, because I'm worried you are going to come again next time, yeah, next Section 8 and come in, Thank you.
Councillor Bonele.
Chair, thank you very much. Thanks to the presenter. He gave us opportunity to see maybe we can live in town. Without social housing, might happen we never afford to make it a reality to come in town. But even in my ward, I got a portion of land, but I will ask it to the director or Portia and Petuna, they can answer that one. The teachers got us. The teachers got us was meant for social housing or teacher, what the, he cannot be part of this social housing or the space is not enough. Maybe we can able to do something. But Portia can WhatsApp me on that one. And what is the status? The people are living there currently as they speak. What is the status regarding those people are living there? They are paying to municipality rent or they're just vandalizing and staying there? I need an update on that one. I want to know to my master. Sir, you are the consultant that are appointed. As you appointed, you can need a date. I can see here, January, March, all those things is here. So when actual date you think, let's give the head the open land there. When you starting there with your team as they finalizing this thing off, because you give two options, the small contractors and maybe big contractor. When you starting there in Hedifale?
Thanks. I just want to make some clarity here. So all we can be on one path. So I don't want the consultant to be bombarded by things that is not part of this meeting. The Hedifale process is a process on its own. We already submit things to the Section 19 committee and we are going to deal with it. That portion of land. This social housing project, if we agreed that there must be 4 areas that we identified that we must look for social housing process. That's what we agreed on. In some of these areas, there were issues about it, and the question has to come, how long can it take for this social housing to take place? Then the agreement was it was be a 2-year process. That's why some of the officials are in that buildings now, because there was agreement. So today's the consultant that I hear today is bringing the proposal that there are 4 areas that we identified that we want to do social housing. That's why he's here. And he is here because of the Social Housing Regulation Authority, SIRA, that appointed a consultant to deal with it. That's why he's here. So his focus will be on these 4 pockets of areas. But if there's other pockets of areas that is not part of the other developments, then we can look into the process, how we can be part and parcel of that process. Let's be clear on that, because I don't want him to answer about the Hedifale, answer him about the teachers' bungalows, because it's not part of the scope that he's here for. He's here only to deal with these. And I can say to you, the former mayor and the former chairperson of housing and the former impact chairperson, the former deputy mayor, I want to assure it to you today. I said to myself when I was sweat in as MMC, I don't want to be the MMC of bungalows. I want to be an MMC that people can see things that have happened. So that's why we unlock these processes. So this is the clarity around this whole thing. I want to go to the question of Mr. Leveil, and I want to also echo what you have said about the data that we receive about how many people are interested in this social housing. And I also want to go to this one of the former mayor that asks about, we don't want a situation if it is rental housing, then you must say this component, these 2 areas will be for rental, this area, yes, these 2 Fs will be for rental to buy or to own on the end of the day. Then this is how we have to deal with it. I just want to find out, when you deal with this data, is there any possibility that when you, because I can see you have timelines and things like that, what is the possibility of making use of young professionals in Knysna that can assist with your project management, how to get the data and all this other work? Because I know that there will be opportunities that will come out of this, and how do you can relate and make sure that some of these youngsters that are professional project managers or that just come from the university can also be part and parcel of this whole project, so that you can know precisely by end of February when you come and present the presentations around where we are, then we know precisely they are part and parcel of it. The other thing is I'm in agreement with my director that the tender for the social housing panel is already out. The only thing that must happen, the BEC must start to and make sure that that process has been going to the BEC, so the panel can be appointed, and so because there's timelines, and when we deal with timelines, we must adhere to the timelines, and I don't want stories around that, because I don't want February when I come back, then then the thing is still at the BEC, while we have to move. So mine is about opportunities for young people in this first phase, especially the young professionals that come that are project managers and that they study these things, how they can be included in this whole process, and about the data that the Councillor Lavelle have raised, and about what Councillor Aubrey have raised. This is the three main questions that we want to find out. But we want to say to you from my side, but I will leave it after when we are finalized. Thanks. Now, Director, you want to, because I think I have clarified about the other issues.
I just need to be very clear, and I think we all need to be on the same page. And if you've read the item, then you will see that is what we're saying. The job of the consultant is not all these other things that councillors are talking about. It's very specific. It has a very specific timeline, and that is why you will see in his presentation there was a time frame that was given, and what is the output. Even the issue that you're raising about data collection, those things, this is a desktop operation where there's a lot of studies that has been looked at, there's a lot of information that is already available that will be utilized as the basis for this moving forward. I think we must just be clear in terms of expectation, because we want the report by January, hopefully be able to come back to the committee on February. So that's the first thing. The consultant sitting there will not be involved in the implementation in terms of this appointment now. It might be that Shra will some further assistance, but the assistance that we have now is to develop this thing. And the money that we have signed, the memorandum of understanding we have signed with Shra is based on this is the particular block of work that needs to be done. So I just think we need to be clear on that. The implement would come, and that is why we are running the tender at the same time and the evaluation and bid adjudication at the same time. So that whilst the consultant is with us, he can also help us in terms of when we look at evaluation process, obviously outside of our bid process, but so that we can make sure that the companies that we are working with, in fact, when the consultant started, we asked him to look at the tender specification so that we can just get feedback. So this is where we are. Shra came and said, okay, there was an application. We submitted an application. We said we needed help. We were one of the few municipalities that got the support, and they have given us the consultant. But the implementation part will come as a result of this strategy. As the consultant said in his presentation, if there is site A, B, or C that is not conducive or not proper for this, the cut, and we might have to look at some other sites moving forward. But I think we just need to be clear, Chairperson, of the expectation, because there is a timeline to this thing in terms of Shra, but I will allow the consultant, and maybe before him, if you could allow the manager to respond on, or as part of the response, the manager can explain about the alternative housing solution that Councillor Aubrey was talking about.
Can I just ask, you know, sometimes, Director, you don't have to be defensive. I understand. No, Director. No, Director, I'm still the chairperson of this meeting. I'm the chairperson of this meeting. I'm the chairperson here. I was appointed by the mayor. We agreed. That's why I clarified it with the Councillor Aubrey, while the consultant is also here. And that is where we have to deal with these issues. So you want to say something?
Thank you, Chairperson. Just a few in terms of what it is correct that the social housing program comes from when council actually resolved on the that we have are as a result of a strategy, the 2019-2020 council, which is why it has been decided to then focus on those. So in terms of what Councillor Tsengwa is asking, test the implementation of those resolution by going through a supply chain management process to make sure that part of what has been presented by the consultant, we are far ahead in terms of that. As the critical, which has not been, is the issue that which is something that we are currently discussing, because as part of that resolution and discussion of 2019-2020, we never discussed this matter. And it's got an impact on the viability of the social housing projects that would be implemented within Knysna municipality itself. The whole issue about affordability of the rental and the whoever social housing institution that would be running on whether or not they would be able to then run those in a manner that will show that there is quality living in terms of those areas is something that needs to be addressed. Now, some of the issues that were also not discussed relates to how we're going to be disposing the land parcels. How are we going to, is it going to be a leasehold? Is it going to be a land availability agreement? And I think that is an issue that was raised in an item which was submitted to this committee in the last meeting to deal with some of those issues. But the strategy would then crystallize some of those issues to say, once we've got the four sites, how are we going to deal with those issues now? Because when one looks at social housing itself, there's an issue of land value. What will that land value be when we go for a land availability agreement? What is going to happen to augmentation fees? Because that is something that is applicable, as well as rates and taxes. How are we going to deal with that as part of the incentive that council is going to have when one deals? Because this is a housing program. It's not a private developer-driven program. It's a government program. Those resolutions in place by council. Yes, we are pushing partnerships now. Once the BEC and BAC sits, we're going to have social housing partners for the next 3 years. And once we've got those, then we'll start packaging the projects. The projects themselves have been in the pipeline, that is WICHRA, since 2020. They've been there and they've been discussed every 4 sure that they stay within that, so that when we do find partners, they are able to apply for the necessary funding to implement the project.
Thanks, Mr. Patuna. Over to you, Mr. Rene.
Thank you very much, Chair. I'll briefly respond to some of the questions, but I think they've already been answered. But I think the questions that Lindiwe has raised now are those that I would like to engage you with, because if the council don't adopt a strategy that spells out the incentives that's on offer, it will be very difficult to get social housing off the ground. I think the key point that I would like to say is this is a very narrow focus that I've presented. I'm talking about social housing. It's definitely not the only option. There are ownership options. There are B&G. This is a very narrow focus, and I'm only talking about social housing. And unfortunately, the option of rent to buy is not with social housing at the moment. So whether that might change in the future, but if you've got social housing, it will remain a rental. And that's something to consider. If Knysna want to push ownership, then maybe you know, you need to look at pushing FLISP subsidies. So, and maybe you can do both. I do think that that social housing do have a place, but it's definitely not the answer for your housing situation in a whole. And therefore, what we quickly want to get out is not something new. We definitely don't want to put something new on the table. We would want to put the implementation plan on the table of something that you've already agreed on, because you don't have one. So, and that's what we would like to put on the table next year, early in the year. But the questions that Lindiwe asked is important, and I would like to use the opportunity, with your permission, Chair, to ask a couple of questions from the House so that we can inform the strategy document that would be tabled. So the first, I don't think time allows it that I'll take you through Mentimeter. I'm going to skip some of the questions. But the questions is what the first question that I would like to offer. What do you see? What should be the objective to achieve in the next 5 years in terms of social housing? If there's anybody that would like to offer, what do you think is reasonable? And I would like to link it to the next question, and that is, how many units do you think is achievable for social housing to be delivered in the next 5 years, as well as community residential units? And part of asking these questions is also so that everybody can be on the same page, so that we get a collective understanding of the problem in front of us. I think what we need to be very clear is we're not going to solve the housing problem of Knysna with only social housing, but this is one of the components. And the question is, how many units do you think can reasonably be delivered in the next 5 years for social housing?
To ask a question before we go into the recommendation that is in front of us. The other outstanding issues is that because I can see that you are working very closely with my department. So if you have other outstanding issues that you want to raise or you want to ask them, then you can deal with it. The other one about these other housing that Councillor Aubrey asked about, I think that my department will deal off this meeting to deal about that, because this is not for this meeting, but Councillor Aubrey, you can ask the question, but not that one.
No, Chair, it's fine, Chair.
Councillor,
Are you done?
I want the committee members
Okay.
to sit.
No, Chair, look, I think I support fully but one must allow us, Chair, to raise these issues, right? Because this is not the first presentation. And again, in between the meeting, I'm going to ask about 3339. Somebody came to do presentation here. But anyway, I'm sure that particular report is in the agenda. But however, Chair, I'm very happy that you take charge of your meeting. We are not going to be lectured here by the director. We know the role of the consultant. We are not going to be lectured here. I'm very happy that you so that manage your meeting. Nobody is going to lecture us here. We are not getting here for the first time. We know exactly who comes here to do what. All questions which you are asking here, Mr. Rainier, are relevant. Because, I mean, Hedifale and other issues were there. So we are not off the line. We are on point. But Chair, I'm in support. You must move Mr. Rainier with speed, because we've been talking about this thing. Thank you very much.
Thanks, councillors. Can we go with the recommendation? The recommendation is on page 17. Recommendation A, B, and C. Can we go with it?
Yes, thank you, Chair.
Thanks.
Yes, Chair, thank you.
Thanks, Mr. Ranier. Mr. Ranier, I want to say thank you from my side as the chairperson that was appointed by the mayor of this town, the executive mayor, Mr. Tamdu Matika. He have appointed me to lead housing. So we want to say thank you for presenting to us, and you have our support. Don't worry, because you see now I'm dressed in red. I'm an EFF. I'm an EFF councillor here. So when you see red, you see the EFF in this municipality. So you are more than welcome. I want to say thank you, how you present it, how you make it very clear, and I can see there's a clear plan where we are, where we are going, what we want to achieve. It is a very clear plan. And you have our support from myself and my department. I just want to say thank you. Thank you, Director, for allowing the consultant to come and present this. So I thank you. Have been excused. Thanks. We are going to have a break for 5 minutes because IT just want to sort out their homework for 5 minutes. Then we come back. What is the time now? It is 11:30. 5 to 25 to 12. We are back. Thanks. Councillor Strubel?
Yeah, I'm here. Sorry, man. I'm on my phone, so
Okay,
now
okay,
that's a
thanks.
bit lang.
Okay, thanks. Now we are going to we are going to start now again. We are going to be 5.2. 5.2 is the HSO2 1125 submission of the business plan for 2025-2026 financial year. The report is in front of us. Is there any input from councillors? Is there any input from councillors? Councillor,
Thank you, Chair. I only see there's nothing for Stowe, nothing for Honorary here. That's all I want to say.
can we get the report, Director?
Good morning, Chair. This is the money that we receive for the current financial year. So the reason why there's nothing on Only, there was no project approved for Only. That's why it's not part of this current budget.
Anyone that want to say something? Can I just ask, 2025, 2026, the money that you received that was gazetted, was 33 million rand, if I'm correct. Out of the 33 million rand, 8 million rand is, that we said it's been earmarked for Sedgefield. This is what we have agreed on. We did not receive any letter yet from province to say their money is they are going to take that money away from us. We didn't receive letters like that. You know, and why I'm raising that, I want to make it clear that we didn't receive any letter from provincial government or national government that said they're going to take that money away. We didn't receive that. But in the projects here in front of me, we have Kailetu Bungalows, Vision 2022 units. Okay, that is the amounts of money that you have, but you don't have Sedgefield in front of me. It's claims. Okay, because I see Slalani housing, but there's no claims there. So you didn't claim for that yet. Slalani was on page 18. Because on which page are you? Okay, and I see, yes, I see on top the claims there. But now, what is this in front of me? These amounts here on top, it is the amount of money that come to the 33 million rand. But now I see Sedgefield money is here. Because I just want to make that clear that we didn't receive any letter from province and national. Can we go with the recommendation in front of us? Councillors? Okay, thanks. We are going with the recommendation.
The Chair, thank you. Thank you. Thank you, Chair. I didn't comment anything on Sedgefield because I know there's a report on this item a bit later, so then I'll comment some stuff. But for now, it's fine. There's nothing we can do with this. It's just for noting.
Okay,
Thank
thanks.
you.
IHSO3 11/2025 Integrated Human Settlements Monthly Report on the project implementation for the period end September 2025. Director, can you take us through?
We have allocated 5, because there was one issue, we allocate 7, but there was 2 issues that we still need to resolve. In Flenters, we're supposed to build 7 houses. We allocate all the 7 in Flenters. And Vision, where we're supposed to build 20 houses in Vision, we have an issue with the contractors appointed on the Vision project. For the last 3-4 weeks, we've issued letters to those contractors that didn't perform. Said, listen, you're not performing according to your program that you submitted. Please give us reason why. So we're busy now putting most of the contractors on terms for non-performing.
Are you finished? Is there anyone that want to ask some questions? Councillor Aubrey?
Chair, thank you very much. No, Chair, I'm not going to, just maybe to get an update. At Tembeni. Because I remember at Tembeni, there were houses there which were completed and they were not handed over. And I just wanted to check what is the status quo. And the second one, Chair, is about 2 houses there in the corner, which were started 2 years ago by a contractor called Michael Blau. And I must promise some time ago, they are going to be given to another contractor. I want to check. Chair, don't forget, I'm saying it's 2 years ago. And I just want to get a status. How far are we? What is the issue about those houses? You know, so that we can really see Ukuti, we are moving forward or backwards. You know, so for now I just want to get a clarity. I'll come back. Thank you.
Can we get a clarity around it?
Chairperson, the houses to be finished within the next 2 weeks. That 3 houses in Etambeni.
Can I just ask something? Because this thing of vandalism is taking place, especially when it comes to our houses. What are we putting in place to make sure that it is not happening? Because I see it become a problem. Because now you're sitting with a situation where people don't want to go into the houses because there's no electricity. And then people stay outside. They don't want to go in. Then it is when these guys seeing opportunity to disrupt and break down these projects that we are busy dealing with it. What are we putting in place to deal with it? Thanks, Councillor Charlie. You are welcome. I see you are now coming late because you are the mayoral candidate. Thanks.
Councillors, yes. During the construction process, it is always the responsibility of the contractor to look after their own site. So that's a contractual thing. And if there's any vandalism or anything, it is their responsibility to repair. Once we have handed over a site, once they have given us the site, then as we have done in last year where we had periods where we didn't hand over, we would make an arrangement with a contractor to look after the site. We'll come to some arrangement. So that is the only thing that we can really do, and that is to make sure that we safeguard those sites. As you know from this discussion this morning, we hope to be able to provide electricity to those sites as soon as possible so that we can hand over, because it's obviously coming at a cost. But the simple answer to your question is that we would normally arrange with the contractor to look after the site until we are able to hand over. But those are only sites that has been handed over after PEC practical completion. Thank you.
Councillor Aubrey, want to follow up?
Yes, Chair. No, Chair. Thank you very much for once again. No, Chair, look. I'll always go back, Chair. I'm talking about 2 years ago, the issue of these houses, which I'm talking about. You know, and if Mr. Darris is saying through your Chair that within a week or two, those houses are going to be handed over, you know, and maybe I'll just wait, and I hope within a week or two, the houses are going to be handed over. You know, and I'm saying, Chair, 2 years ago, we are talking about these houses in that corner there. There's a corner there at Tembin. You know, it's 2 years now. 2 years plus couple of months. But, Chair, I think in the very same vein, man, I want, you know, Chair, when credit is due, and you must thank people. You know, I want to thank, Chair, maybe let me thank you. Number one, yeah, I've been asking here for electrification, you know, before we get there. I really want to thank you, Chair, and thank Shibu, you know, and thank Shibu, I mean, for compiling all that information. And I'm happy now they've started, there's an area called Happy Valley there. They've started, and I just hope they are going to complete all those houses, Chair. People mustn't worry that if then we've finished everything there, adjustment, we are going to sort other areas. You see, let's deal with what 8, and then after what 8, we are going to deal with other areas. Chair, I must really, Chair, commend you and thank you. And congratulations, Councillor Charlie, mayoral candidate. You know, thank you very much, Chair.
Thanks. I just want, after the caucus is finished, I don't know why you come and caucus here. You must caucus there in your office. I really don't know what is happening. I want to make one point here. I just want to find out how many houses are we going to build now for 2025, 2026? What is the total amount of houses? Because I want to go somewhere. I want to go somewhere. How many houses? You are not supposed to add up here. You're supposed to know because of the money.
No, Chairperson, remember, the money is only 33 million. The money is 33 million.
Director, hold on. They give you money according to how many houses you're going to build. That's how they give you money. The money that they give is, if they have to build one RDP house there, this is the money the government will give you for that one RDP house. Now I'm listening.
64, Chairperson.
Okay. 64 houses. I want to go to, yes, this is what the provincial government have given us, the amount of money for houses built in National Council Charlie, and the money come from the national government, where you all, that are floated to the provincial government, and from there they're coming to us. We are going to build that 64 or 63 houses or 68 houses, but out of that, the other 8 million rand is going to Setfield for these service sites, then Setfield that we are going to do to build houses. But I want to find out from my department, how many contractors are on your, that are be part of this? How many?
Chairperson, 21 contractors have been appointed on the
21.
T43.
Okay, 21. What is the criteria you are using to allocate? No, you're right. What is the criteria that we are using to deal with it? Because why I'm asking that, and I don't want people to say that I'm not interfering. I'm doing my oversight role as the chairperson. Because when I get a question in a public meeting, I can answer people and say, this is the criteria that my department is using by allocating to make sure that the houses is being built and be finalized on time so we can get more money from province so we can build more houses.
Thank you. I will answer that. I just want to say I wasn't caucusing. I just wanted to make sure that the question from Councillor Aubrey is the same site that he's responding to. So that was just the question. Because as you know, there's the 248, so I was just a bit confused in terms of the numbers. Councillor, yes. So we have 21 small contractors or small businesses that is on the tender that we obviously went through. For the purpose of the allocation of this year, we are using 19 because we have agreed that the 2 that we are not using have not really performed, which includes some of these kind of historical units. The second thing is we have allocated on the basis of, in part, past experience. So some of the contractors have shown in the last year before that they're not really able to deliver on the units that we give them. And as you know, they are different projects, so obviously we allocated going on to different, whether it's Vision or Kailete or whatever. Moving forward, as I have explained previously in the committee and to yourself, is that in terms of our approach now, and because I've been involved in the allocation now, we are much more strict, we are much more involved in the contract administration and contract management. and performance management. So that's why you would have heard earlier Herbert explaining that we have already issued 4 letters to contractors that have not performed. So what does that mean? If we do the site, and we have also given them a template in terms of the time frame. So if we say, for example, it should take you 6 weeks to complete a house, then there is a template and you can put in the dates so that we get back from you a construction program. So we have a good idea of what it should take you, but we ask the contractor, these are the houses that you're going to build, give us a timeline. They then commit themselves to that timeline, the construction program. After that, we then review and assess on the basis of that construction program. And if they are not meeting those dates, the timelines, we would then say, especially if there's a 2-week delay, we would then issue a letter to that contractor saying to them, based on your construction program and where we are now, you are now in delay of 2 weeks, and we will give you 2 weeks to complete. If you don't, then we will obviously perform until take the steps in accordance with the contract administration. So that is, and the primary objective of that council is obviously is moving forward in the new allocation that I've already discussed with SM in terms of next year and with province, is that we will only look at the performance. Our next allocation will be driven by performance for the next financial year and moving forward. If they have not performed in this financial year, then we will not allocate. Because our problem is that we start late, a quarter late, as you know, because we get the funding already in April, but we start in July. Hopefully next time we will be able to resolve that in terms of starting earlier. But also we have this problem that they are not, the contractors are not performing, and therefore we want to make sure that if we are going to get more allocation, so for example, we are supposed to deliver, is it 30 or 40 next year? For Kailetu. 40. But we have already discussed with province and say, we would like you to give us our total quantum. What is left for Kailetu? What is left for Vision? So that we stop with this thing of just building 60 houses, but most probably delivering 200. And their issue has always been, but based on your past experience. And that is why we have developed this approach, and they are aware of it. And when the HOD was here, I explained it again to her last week, and she's in an agreement so that we are able to allocate more to our contractors that are actually doing the work, that are performing well. So instead of just giving them 5, we can say, here is 10 or 20 units and you can deliver. So we are able to then deliver quicker and better quality work. I know it's a bit long, but I just wanted you to understand that that is what we are doing at the moment. And that the objective of that is to make sure that we have good contractors taking us forward into the new financial year. Because as you know, I reported earlier, there's potentially another project that the HOD raised in Kolweni that she thinks that we should be able to bring into the fold in terms of delivering. So that is my response, Con.
Thanks, Director. The 63 divided with 19 is 3 or 4 per contractor. My question will be, if contractors are struggling or not struggling in the sense of struggling, do you think it's correct that you advance and make them less worthy to be part of the project? Because we're coming from a system of apartheid. Where we want to transform the economic also to all of us as black people in this country. If I check the 19 contractors, I hope we don't sit with a situation where one contractor out of the 19 only have 2 houses that built for the year and the others 10. I hope we are not moving to that direction. But leave it there. Councillor Charlie, before I can talk about Renendal and Karatra. Just switch on, Councillor Charlie, because so you can be recorded, because I see you on your phone. I don't know, is it a message from Kaitan, or are you recording yourself?
I must record myself because our people are saying that we are not fighting for them in council. Now we need to prove them. It's not that we are not fighting. We do fight for what is their fully rights. I just need to know what is the purpose of the municipality regards these bungalows. What does the policy say about the bungalows? Because I think as from Saturday and yesterday, there was a huge fight in Ward 3 about the bungalows. So I don't know if the policy have changed, because on my understanding, the bungalows are for disaster. When somebody whose house have burned down or swept away by flooding, then the municipality must build a bungalow for that person. Number two, correct me if I'm wrong, bungalows are for when we are moving. For a person, you remove me, you are going to build my RDP house, now you are going to put me in a temporary house. And once you are done, then you can now say that here is your key, you can go into your RDP house. Now, I just need to know why are the people in OPAT, they've been in those bungalows for more than 15 years. They were removed there, saying that they are going to get RDP houses. It's more than 10 years, and yet those people are still there. So I just need to know in this department, what is the purpose? What kind of a people are this municipality giving the bungalows to? So that's why I raised this. And the other point that I need to raise is the house complete when we are going to hand over an RDP house without electricity and water? Because at the same place in Ward 3 in Nekis, there are people who've got RDP houses, and another one is in Hlalani. There's no electricity. And these houses, how do you check them if they've been built correctly? Because this house is not even 2 years. It already got cracks inside. These RDP houses. Thank you.
Thanks, Director. Before you can speak, Councillor Charlie was late. And I said, when we want to hand over houses, it must be electrified. Our people must have electricity. But unfortunately, she's late. Councillor Aubrey have raised an issue about electrification that we are dealing with the other area where you already started with electrification of these houses. So what we are saying in housing, and we agree that my department with the infrastructure department are going to sit together to deal with the electrification of houses. So Councillor Charlie, on that one of the electrification, because I don't want people to go into houses and there's no electrification. Because what is happening, people decided not to go in, and then it is when vandalism is taking place. So my directorate is already busy with infrastructure and my department to deal to make sure when people go into the houses are being electrified. So we are dealing with that one. I also want to make these bungalows of OPAT, people were moved to OPAT. But before we become MMCs, we were just ordering councillors. But they were MMCs before us. So now we must deal with the problem that these MMCs that were before us, before myself and Councillor Arendse was, that we have to deal with these problems. The TRAs, it is when we move you from the one area to the another area that you're getting money from government to support the TRAs. And when we finish building your house, we move you back, and then the municipality was supposed to take that TR back. That is the process. I'm in agreement with you when you say about what was this bungalows for. When there's a disaster, when there's a fire, that was the policy around it. We all know about it. But we, unfortunately, this committee, with myself as chairperson, in this 5 months, they have to rectify it where people were sitting before us not to deal with it. So I don't want us to come here and ask questions. I know that you must answer, Directorate. But this issue of these backlogs, we can't, and unfortunately, we can't deal with it in 5 months. We want to come and make nice now, a holy nice now. It's not going to happen. And we must be honest with our people. But when we give you a house, you must give the key of the bungalow back. That is on that we agreed on. So, Director, you can respond on it. Thanks. Because we are in 5.3.
Yes, you are correct, Councillor, Chairperson, that in terms of the TRAs, obviously, especially in the Kailetu case, that is used as temporary kind of so that people can move from one spot to another. I think we must just not, as maybe the terminology for me, the one obviously has those bungalows there, and I think the council is referring to emergency housing kit, and we obviously have a policy for that. So the council is correct that the emergency housing is for people that die in a disaster, in a fire, etc. And you will know that we have not been able to, we've only purchased 10 in the last how many months, and that has been allocated. We are, as I explained earlier this morning in the mayoral war room, we have submitted to national, and again on this weekend we submitted to province, because province, based on a MINMAC decision, is now able to deal with the maximum options. So that has been submitted to them, and hopefully they will come back to us, because they've sent it out to all municipalities last Thursday. And we have responded so that we can deal with that. I'm aware of the issue in OPAT that's been raised in 2 public meetings already, that people were kind of relocated and whatever, so it is something that we have to deal with. But as we all know, funding is allocated for certain projects, and on the basis of that, once the funding is secured, we are then able to say, okay, let's go out and get the beneficiaries for that particular areas. And that has been, this year, been an extensive process. Yes, maybe 90% there, because I figure that people still have questions on it. Why didn't they make it to the list, and why they moved to the list next year? But as you know, when it comes to the housing allocation, there are 4 categories that drives us, and we apply those 4 categories: military veterans, child-aided households, the elderly people, and disabled. But we have only 63, 64 houses, and that's the point I was trying to make earlier when I spoke to the HOD to say, let us get our quantum so that we are able to deliver more per area, as opposed to only the 64. We should be able to deliver much more if we have something like 19 contractors on board. Chairperson, I know it wasn't necessarily a question, but a comment from your side. We have to at some point get all our contractors to a point where they can actually deliver. So at the moment, your average that you're talking about 3, some we give 2, some we give 5, because you must remember, we are measured on our ability to actually spend our funding. So if I'm not able to spend my funding, then next year you're going to come and clobber me about that, because you're going to say you didn't perform. But when it comes to housing delivery, if I have contractors who 1 or 2 of them have no idea what they are doing, with all due respect to them, then I have a problem. So I have to allocate the numbers based on the performance, based on the fact that you have shown me you can actually do 5, and some other people might only be able to do 2, because it takes them forever to do that. So now the idea is not to totally wipe people off the map and say you're not going to get, but if I'm arguing for an increase in the quantum to province, then on my side I also, or nice the municipality, then also need to deliver on our side. And the way to deliver that is to have a legitimate process to say, this is your performance, and on the basis of this is what we can do. We are not, it is not the intention not to allocate to anyone, but to say there are those who can actually allocate, that are actually delivering, and therefore we will allocate to them. Thank you.
Mr. Councillor Aubrey, then we are going with the item, because we have to move.
No, Chair. No, Chairman. I'm not intending to waste time. And I honestly want to write on this thing of, in fact, the issue of the emergency kit, I want to check, Chair, through you to the director. Do we have budget for emergency kit? Do we have budget for emergency kit? Or what is happening? How many bungalows do we have now? Because I know we are storing bungalows. There are bungalows which are lying there. I mean, in that office, So how many are lying there? So that remember, so that chair I can also maybe assist. You know, I want to assist director now. At least there are people in that department which we can call, so that we can check as to how can they expedite in terms of assisting us with emergency. Do you see this thing of emergency material is becoming a problem now? So if we can understand, if we don't have money internally, you know, how many bungalows do we have? I mean, which are stored elsewhere. Because I want to intervene now and assist, because at least, I mean, those people which we work them, when I was the mayor, those people are still there. You know, I mean, they are still there. I mean, they are not buried. I mean, it can just be a matter of one to phone calls, so that we can really assist, because I can see this thing is really going to create a problem. So if I can get to understand what we have now. Thank you, Chair.
Director?
I don't have the exact, I was just gonna,
Okay.
I will come back.
No, it's fine.
Whilst the meeting is on to get the exact. But for the record, we purchased 10, the total, you know, with the zinc and everything, and that has been allocated. On the question of the funding, we don't have any funding. I think there might be a few rands left from the initial purchase, because as you know, we got, is it 175, I think? Sorry? 225,000 we got in our budget. You will know, Chair, that based on the conversations in the mayoral committee, in the mayoral war room, that we need to look at funding so that we could at least purchase some in terms of for the season. But I am also aware, and councillors are all aware, that we now have a list. I just looked at a list this weekend. Most of the 150 people are waiting for us. And for that, it's going to cost us something like 3 million if we want to purchase that.
Thanks.
So that has been discussion, as you're aware of.
Thanks. Thanks, Director. Councillor Chal, I see you enter, but I just want to deal with, I hear what you say. In Renendaal, the contractor of the water and the roads has been appointed. We have said all the years, every time when it comes to that areas, it was about the bulk service. It was about bulk service. Now we must start the process there. We must start the process, because the contractor is appointed. We must start the process in Renendaal and in Karatra. So I hope my department is going to start a process there in Renendaal and in Karatra, because the contractor is been appointed, because there's always the time and the issues about bulk service. That's why we can't present something to province for building houses in Renendaal. Now, my department doesn't have excuse, because you can use that letter to say to province, now the contractor for the bulk service has been appointed. He's going to start, he will start working there, so we can start our process, because by the time that houses also been built in Renendaal and that areas. So this is my stake on it. I hope, directors, you are noted on that one. Can we go with the recommendation in front of me? Is it on the on the item?
On this item
Okay.
about the project. You see, this is the project that it stands there. 21 contractors were appointed for the progress on houses. But now let me remind this department, there is a mother, the husband have passed away, Utatu Ndlangisa, up there in Tingilane. He passed away, he go and stay there in the 70s. That mama, the husband passed away, whereby she never received. They never received their RDP house. She's not on the list either on this time. Nothing has been done there. What worries me, in front of her, there was a car wash. Now there's a big Pakistan shop there. And those people, they do have electricity because they are running a spaza shop there. Now my concern is, in this municipality, you've been told that you must be age 40 now. But in the same, you'll find the children that in their 30s, they are going to receive from these new RDP houses that are going to be built. But what are we saying? I don't believe in ancestors' things, but that doesn't give me a right when that father and that mother said their ancestors have said that they must not move there. And it's for decades. Umama uNombayeka died not receiving any. I was doing sub B, moving around there from Tingiland, but if you can look now, it's been developed. Then this municipality go and develop when she's dead. It's not right. What are we saying? Is the house for Umfaz Katatu Ndlangis, I don't know what is her surname. Is their house there? Is she on the list whereby she's going to receive a house after of more than 40 years? She's been waiting.
Charlie. Friends, I just want to say, you understand, and I have to raise it here. Unfortunately, we have to deal with things that was never been done before. And we have to rectify it. So if that person never received a house and he passed away, and his wife is there, the unfortunate part, we have to deal with it. Because the previous people, they didn't deal with it. Now we have to deal with it. And I am not going to record me. Because if applied POSA, we can deal with it and see if the person is on the waiting list, the person have all these kind of things, did the person acquire. But I'm not going to make something here and talk about Aubrey. We are going to deal with housing in general. So everyone can benefit out of the process of housing. That's why I have raised this issue of Renendal. That Renendal also must now be catered for because everything is in place. Can you just give me an answer about that name of that person?
Chairperson, can I correct you?
No,
if you are going to act as the officials and the managers, I am going to speak on behalf of our residents. Let you speak on behalf of them. I'm not going to stand here. They are the officials. We are here for our residents. We should speak.
Director, can you respond, Director?
Councillors, whenever there's a fire or a disaster, as has happened unfortunately.
We don't hear you.
Director, we want to find out about that person. See, Councillor Charles, we already passed. We have already passed.
The point I want to make so that everyone understands,
Okay.
especially those that we are talking to at the moment, it seems.
Okay.
We are then asking people to bring the basic thing. In some cases, their ID. In most cases, they've lost their ID. That is why we ask for the affidavit. They bring it, and we put them on the list. If Councillor Charlie is suggesting that the person is not on the list, I don't have the list in front of me now. It's on the computer. I will check, and if it's not on the list, then I will get the information and we can put it on the list. But I don't walk around 150 people in my head in terms of who's on the list and who's not on the list.
Thanks, Director.
ID information?
No, you are correct. You are correct. That if a person, any councillor, have the right to bring and say, this person have applied 40 years back, but why is this person never been allocated a house? To bring it to the housing department so they can deal with it. There's nothing wrong with it. So can we go with the recommendation in front of us? Can you switch on there?
Yes, Chair, we can note the recommendation.
Thanks. Can we go to 5.4, electrification of Renendal informal areas? Director, can you take us through? Because I think this is only, the recommendations is in front of us. Can you just take us through?
Yeah, Councillor, there's been communication, I think, between the ward councillor, who is online and could most probably add to it, and ESCOM. And the request has been that we should have a council resolution. So the purpose of this is really just so that we can then, ESCOM is then able to start with electrification of the informal areas in the Renendal area specifically. So the item is just explaining there are affected areas, Uitsig, Barnard Valley, Geelhout Valley, Annie Valley, and Monkey Valley, located in Renendal and Ward 5. And then as I explained in the item, this has been as a result of communication between the councillor and and ESCOM, and that we are required to have a council resolution. So the recommendations speak for itself, and if it is supported by the committee, that would be appreciated.
Thanks, Director. Can we go with the recommendation? Because ESCOM is going to deal with this.
Yes, Chair, we can go with the
Thanks.
recommendation.
We are going with the recommendation, thanks.
We can go.
Thank you.
Councillor Hilton, now we support it. So you can call your public meeting.
Yes, Very much. I thought you must know, and that is a construction site. Thank you.
Can we go to 5.5? This is about the water geyser system. Can you just explain to us?
If I may, before I just wanted to make the point because there was a discussion earlier. Our colleague, the Senior Human Settlement Officer, Sibu, is responsible, or I've allocated her to be responsible for the informal electrification. So in all the areas where in all the informal areas, she will be taking the lead on that. So I think as has been acknowledged by Councillor Chengwa, there's already things moving on that. So we are just confirming and we are, that is the way we're going to move forward on that. Whereas the other discussion about electrification is obviously about our houses and that we are building the formal houses.
Can you go to 5.5, Director?
This item.
Don't sugarcoat Sibu here. Can you go to 5.5?
I just want councillors to
Okay,
understand.
so they know
And
who's
also
dealing
know
with it.
Who's dealing with what?
Okay.
Because there is a perception that everything is centralized. We are giving everyone responsibility.
Can we go to 5.5, Director?
Okay. Councillors, this is about a project that I think that we want to take forward. And I am literally just seeking your kind of confirmation that this is something that is worth pursuing. Obviously, there's a lot of work that needs to be done. So this is about the implementation of a retrofit low-cost housing, a geyser systems. At the moment, as you know, with all the houses that we are building, there are no geysers in there. And what we want to do is to develop a project plan and go out and get funding so that we can install retrofit solar-powered driven geysers so that people are able, just like in any household, they're able to take a warm bath or a shower as opposed to having to stand outside or having to kind of boil water to do that. We reckon there's something like 5,000 units if you talk about the Greater Knysna. So to start off with, we obviously need to, I wanted first to get a committee sign-up or approval that is something worth pursuing from the councillor side. And then we will then develop the business plan and keep the committee up to date as we develop moving forward. I understand that there are funding sources out there that can be utilized. It's not the most complicated project because we are only talking about reinforcing the part where we will actually put the geyser and then obviously the solar panels. In the item, you can read to yourself. There's some obviously economic development opportunities. There's training opportunities for people in terms of the implementation of the project, and that we will all kind of factor in when we develop the feasibility for this. So at this stage, I'm just asking approval from councillors that in principle they think it's a good project to pursue, and then we will do all the remainder and bring back to the council a feasibility study. Thank you.
Thanks, Director. Councillor Lavelle, see your hand is up. Councillor Aubrey, and then Councillor Arons, now one, then only the two, and then I will wrap up with the thanks. Councillor Lavelle.
Thank you, Chair. Yeah, I welcome this. Just one comment. What we've picked up in Sedgwick, because you know that years ago, between the 2011 and 2016 period, they installed solar geysers in Smutsville in about 50 houses in the Ogebied. But I can tell you now that it's great to have it initially, but the problem is the maintenance, man. So I don't know, maybe we can get comments on that or maybe include that there needs to be a proper maintenance plan because at the when the things eventually break, no one can actually repair it. So then it becomes a massive issue. And so people are back in the same situation they were in the beginning before the solar geysers were installed. So this is something that we picked up in terms of the maintenance. It's the same with the water meter project, the previous one, that before we embark on these initiatives, we have to make sure that we're going to have a maintenance plan for afterwards to deal with the issues once they break. But other than that, the principle, the concept, I support, Chair. Thank you.
Councillor Aubrey.
No, Chair, thank you very much. No, Chair, I also want to just follow suit, Chair, in supporting this project, you know. I thought, Chair, this project is on an advanced stage because I know about this thing ages ago. And I thought this thing is on Director is bringing it now. the geysers so that we can install them. You know, the Department of Energy, you know, through, yeah, but let me not go there. Chair, I fully support this thing, right? Number two, Chair, I'm just trying to check. I see on the recommendation there's something speaking about 150. Roll out, I'm not sure whether is it 150 speaks to a pilot. We are going to start, you know, I'm not sure which area is going to get. If we are talking about 9 wards, 150 geysers, I'm not sure. So I want to make a request, Chair, to say maybe if on the recommendation, I know I'm not part of the committee, maybe if we can agree that fighter, we pilot 50, you know, geysers per ward, and so that we can, you know, fast track this particular thing, fighter. Fighter, allow me, man, to abuse you. I've never abused you. How far is those toilets? You know, those ones.
Can we first?
Oh, okay,
Don't
okay.
worry.
I don't see on the report, that's the thing.
Okay.
No, Chair, I fully support this thing, and this thing must be, otherwise Director can also help you, you know, just to get these things here. These things are lying there in Pretoria. Thank you.
I just want to ask from my department, how do you have come to 150?
Councillors, let's just agree on the principle of a pilot. Whether it's 50 per area, whatever. When you prepare an item, you want to give councillors an idea of, instead of looking at 5,000, let us start with something. So let's just agree on the principle that it should be a pilot. In the feasibility study, we will obviously work out much more the details, so don't be too kind of caught up with our 150. Take out the 150 and just say that we should have a pilot rollout. And if that is 50 per area, that's 50 per area. Now, the reality is, we might not even have the pilot and just go straight into operation. But I always want to make sure that at least before you can, you know, do things, that you would run a pilot and see where it works. So don't be caught up in the 150. Just say that we should run a pilot as part of the rollout.
No, I must be. Director, I must be. Because when you do rollouts of a pilot, when you address it, then people said, no, we must first do out, there's 150, it was allocated 150, it was finalized, that pilot, and before we can move. This is how it's been operated in the Knysna municipality. Look at that pilot project that we are still dealing there in Setfield. It's still a pilot. So that's why when we say we want to deal with numbers, then the administration will come back tomorrow and say, you know, but this was, you allocate 20, so we're going to stick on 20. That's how the administrators operate. That's how they operate. If you want to say 50, they say, no, it was 20, so we stick to 20. Then we are bound. So I'm in agreement with you that we agree that we are going to have started with a roll-off pilot project, and we don't put up the total number there. Councillor?
Sorry, there was another question that was asked on maintenance by Councillor. You
Level.
will see they under the, actually it is covered, although in a shortened way. Under socioeconomic benefits, you would see that there's 4 to 5 sustained jobs for maintenance and customer support. So again, all these things will be unpacked when we do the feasibility, but the principle of what the council is saying, yes, there need to be people. So that will create an opportunity for a small company or smaller companies that can actually do the maintenance. Thank you.
Fence Director, we support it. Can we go with it?
Yes, Chair, we can
Thanks.
go.
Yes, Chair.
Thanks, Councillor Vela. You are the only one, and Councillor Arons, that support with the things that we are trying to do here. Councillor,
No, we are not
Councillor Newton,
supporting it because you
Councillor
wanted to
Newton.
push us on your own agenda. You want to become an official, whereby you are a councillor. You don't speak for the community, you are speaking for the officials. That's why me and you, we don't get along. I am here for the community, not for the officials. I've asked an issue here because I know that old lady was moved there by Chris Hani, and the residents of Chris Hani removed that mama there. Now I need to do a follow-up, and you are stopping me. You want to become an official, not a councillor here. I am not speaking for the official. I am raising the questions for the community because it is them that send me here. That is why I would rather keep quiet, Councillor Lowe. Because you want now to become an official and know more than them. You don't know the history of housing, especially when it comes in Ward 3. You should ask me. I know what I'm talking about.
Are you finished, Councillor Charlie?
Yes, but don't do that. You say that we're not, I'm not going to support you because now you want now to
Are you
play
finished,
the
Councillor?
education side one. We don't want educated people. We want activists that are going to fight for our people. Now those people, they are the ones who produce their certificates, not us. We must raise our concern.
Councillor Charlie.
They must answer.
Thanks, Councillor Charlie.
Don't play that role with me.
Thanks, Councillor Charlie. You are going to read it. You're going to see it on social media. That's what is happening. You're going to see it. Don't worry. Can we move to 5.6? And it will be on the PA social media. Don't worry.
Yeah.
I'm EFF. 5.6. Can we go to 5.6?
Can I ask the manager to handle the item?
Can you deal with 5.6 for us?
All right, thank you, Chairperson. 5.6 is a progress report in terms of the Sedgefield project. You would know that there was an application which was submitted in 2023 by our consultant to province. And recently we have had to amend that application. And we have then resubmitted that application to province so that we can be able to get funding in the 2026-27 financial year. A number of meetings have actually taken place in relation to that, and an indication is that the funding will be available to the value of 10.7 million to implement the Sedgefield project. Just to deal with a few things in terms of the amended application, which has been submitted currently, we still need to submit to make sure to receive a general plan, an approved general plan from the Surveyor General, and we also need to submit a traffic impact statement. Those are the only two issues that at this point in time that we still need to submit. However, I just need to touch on the following issues. The current tender for services, which was advertised, it's now.
Can you, Director? Sorry. Can you just switch off there? Can you just switch off?
Discuss that in public.
No.
So if you,
Not-
if
can
it's
you
okay
did-
with Lindile, if you can
can-
sum the point about the tenders,
can-
then just move on.
Can you just, I don't want you to go there. I just want you to give us a report. That is where we are. This is what we received. This is what province have committed to us. Then we're dealing with it.
Chairperson, I was dealing with something that is on the report. The report itself is public, but I think I will, if the advice is for me not to deal with that, but the details that I'm going through is what is on the report, which is in itself public.
What is happening now, Director?
Sorry, my intervention was merely just on the basis that I didn't want us to get into the detail. I have no problem with the manager continue.
Okay.
So I was just alerting, I wasn't trying to stop him.
Okay, that's fine.
It's important.
Director, Manager, you can continue.
All right. The details that I'm going through, Chairperson, are on page 30 and 31 of the report itself. Now, the current tender is still going through the supply chain process, and the funding as it is, we have not received any letter to say that the funding have actually been taken away. That remains on our budget. We are then awaiting the BAC to actually take a decision in respect of that, so that the implementation of the project can actually start as soon as possible. What I'm not going to do at this point in time is to say when that will be, because we must await a decision of the accounting officer in relation to the award of that project. But safe to say that it is within the process at this point in time. So there is full commitment in terms of the execution of that project. Thank you, Chairperson.
Thanks. I think that you have made it very clear. I think this is a very detailed report. What is for me important, the important part for me is on page 31. Because I see now there's a commitment of 10.7 million rand for that project in Setfield. That is the commitment that is here in front of me. So, and it is the sites at USAFE for the infrastructure, for the bulk service there is to deal with it. So they have agreed on it. So it's something positive. So at least we are moving with this thing of Setfield and the people that are deployed there through the department director. I'm happy that they are doing their work. The leaner that are deployed there to deal with the other outstanding work. But I want the ward councillor of Setfield, before I give over to Councillor Aubrey, but I want the ward council to respond or to say, to ask some questions or to get some clarity around the 10.7. Thanks, Councillor Lavelle.
Yeah, thank you, thank you, Chair. On yeah, I think it's very straightforward item. There's not much. I just want to talk about the um, beneficiaries, prospective beneficiaries have been identified. Now I know that the beneficiaries have been pre-screened. So if we can just get details on that. And also, Chair, we need to not be ignorant to the fact of what is happening in Smutsville at the moment. So, but as I say, so far in terms of the implementation, I mean, we've been made many promises from our community. And I mean, we see another amount of 10.7. But, you know, it's hard, man, to believe that that will materialize. But from my side, it's really important that we, you know, push for housing in our community, because we've really, for 9 years, it's been number one on our IDP. So there are beneficiaries. I know in the media, they say there's 300, but I just need clarity on that. If we can just get, other than that, it's fine. But please tell us about these pre-screened beneficiaries. Thank you.
Thanks. I'm very glad. At least you are happy that we want that project in Setfield to happen. And I said, we as the committee, myself as chairperson, we are going to fight for it, so it must happen. So I don't want it to come back after 2 years and said it never happened. Now my department must just go and do their work, because the province have committed, national have committed, so we must just do our part as my department director.
Yes, I would like Deline to respond just in terms of the process. She is deployed in that area, so she will be able to explain to the council it's just the process that we've gone through in terms of the pre-screening. But he is correct, it's plus minus 300, they've been pre-screened, and obviously there's a next step. But she is best suited as the person who deals with that on a daily basis.
Thanks. You can then, Councillor Aubrey. No, Deline, you can speak. I'm still the chairperson, don't worry. I'm still here. You can speak.
Thank you for allowing me. The pre-screenings has been done for the waiting list for the national database to see whether the people were on the national database. The actual completion of the subsidy forms must still take place. Those processes must still take place. But it can only take place once the project is approved. Then we can ask province to create. We are linked with province with a system called HSS. They create a project as soon as the Setfield project is approved. They create a project on HSS where we are interlinked, and we load the actual subsidy forms on that HSS system. Once they receive the actual forms that we complete, they do all the screenings as to see whether you are actually meeting the criteria for the subsidy house. In that, you don't have any houses, you're not dead, you understand? So those things must still take place. The pre-screenings was just to see whether you're on the waiting list for a certain period of time. Then the actual criteria thing, where we complete the subsidy forms, that is still going to take place.
Thanks. I think that is very clear for myself. Councillor Vale, I think that one is very clear. Or you want to have a bite on it? Or you are fine?
No, Chair, thank you. It's something that I know and that I'm aware of. I just wanted it to be, or put on the table because so that people can understand, where the municipality is in this process. Because, the problem that we've had through the years is that we've had a lack of transparency. But fortunately, Deline works very well with us, and she has explained everything to me. But I just wanted it to be so that all the councils can understand what exactly is happening. Because to say prospective beneficiaries have been identified, we need to get clarity on what exactly that means. You see, that was very.
Thanks, Councillor. Now you can call a public meeting next week and just go to the people and say, we are moving. Councillor Aubrey, was it on this item of Sedgefield?
Yeah, Chair. No, Chair.
I hope you're not going to take us back.
No, I won't take you back,
I know
Chair.
you like to take us forward.
I won't take you back. I won't take. You see, Chair, I'm happy when you are happy, and Councillor Levade. But I just want quickly to go to page 30. Thereby in progress. I'm sure, Chair, it's Monday morning, man. Everybody's papalas. There, Chair, there's the first bullet point and the second one. Can I just read quickly this one? Maybe the director will assist me. It reads as follows. Funding application submitted to Western Cape government and approval is awaited. Discussion on the implementation of the project in the 2026-2027 financial year, internal services taking place. I want to stop there. Maybe Mr. Petuna. No, I'm very happy, Chair. I think, we honestly, Chair, something must finally happen there, and I'm worried now, as I was just talking to Delian earlier on. I'm told the people are building like nobody's business at the back of that particular USAFE. I'm not sure how many informal structures are there. But what is important, something must happen there. I just want to get that bullet point quickly. I see there was a commitment on the 26th of October. There was a meeting. Because I'm quite worried, Chair. We don't really want to come here again. And then we are told, hey, the health is here. The money is taken, and the director, you must move, this time around, as the main guy of
He must move at speed because he must move at speed from now.
No, the director must move, Chair. Otherwise, Chair, I can speak Hawari, man.
I'm also very worried like you.
Thank you, Chair.
Director, I'm also very worried like you. He must move at speed. I want to see if it's happening. This thing of paperwork is not helping us. We want to see if it's happening. He must move at speed.
In the spirit of Speedy Gonzalez, can I just answer that question? I think it's a timing in terms of the report writing. The manager prepared the report, and by the time that I reviewed it, I inserted the lower part because we had a meeting, so that was an update. And that's why, so the latest information is the one, that's why I underlined it. Because by the time he wrote the report, we didn't have the meeting, 2 meetings actually, and then it was updated, so that is the updated version. Thank you.
Thanks, Director. Can we go with the recommendation in front of us? Committee members, Councillor Vail, Councillor Russell.
We can move, Chairperson.
Okay, thanks. Now we go into 5.7. It's about the sanitation. Director, is it a new thing that is coming, or is it the one that we are busy dealing? Is it a new pilot again?
No, can I just explain, Councillor? This report is to be noted. The 3 of us, the 3 directors were invited or went to a workshop, a 2-day workshop on WES, which is a new approach to deal with sanitation. It is obviously based on more water efficient. So, for example, you will have a situation, if you look at some of the photos that are included in the report, you will see there are, when you start with a sanitation project, you need water. After that, it is a recycled system. So the reason why I thought it was important to bring it here is because I think there are bigger projects where this can actually work. So if you look at 3339 and look at some of the other bigger projects, it can actually work. The site visit that we did was actually in informal areas. So the photos that you see is one of that would service something like 100 units. So it can be utilized in all kinds of areas. The only problem with it at this stage, from a council point of view, is the money that you have to put up front. So there's obviously a cost involved. In this particular pilots, as you want to call it, that was funded by the people who invited us. There were 3 of them working, and we could see that it was working. And as you could see, especially the photos dealing with the quality of the water at the end after going through the whole recycling process. I don't know whether it is clear in the photos. But that gives you a good, yeah. So if you go to page, just for quick, 37, that is the whole system that you basically set up. It's all containerized, as you can see in the first one. The second photo just deals with the whole kind of recycling, where the waste comes in and it goes through the system. If you look at the photo dealing, especially the page after, the quality of the water coming out, it gives you a good indication of how the system works to the point where, you know, all the nonsense goes in, and at the end you have that. And that is why it is a much more efficient system from a water use point of view, because your initial, when you start the project, you need to water, but you don't necessarily after that, because it's so, that's why it's called a water efficient system. It is something that we all thought, and the other thing in the last photo on page 38, you will see it is actually a solar power driven, so it's not even electricity required. So it is something that I would hope that we, in the discussion with 3339, and even with a new one, I think it's something that we would most probably want to say if there's a developer coming on board. And I know my colleague, Director of Infrastructure, will also look at that, because the 3 of us are looking in terms of how we can deliver this. So for this, at this stage, it is for information, but it is something that we obviously want to take forward. And as I was saying, when it goes to council, my report and the same report that was presented to the Infrastructure Committee will be one resolution, so that we get some guidance, and then we can start to look at how do we implement that. But purely from visiting all these sites, I think it's a good system, especially in an area where our the problem with our infrastructure councillor Arendse might not be able to take, especially these new developments that are coming, and this is one technology that we can utilize to actually deal with our sewer system instead of overloading.
Thanks, Director.
Yeah.
Is there any question that the councillors want to ask? Councillor Aubrey?
No, Chair, I've got only one question, but Chair, I really want to, I'm just checking now, perusing her status. I think exactly what we have said earlier on, Councillor Charlie now, she's live, discussing the same issue of bungalows now on what to call. You know, I think, Lo, you must leave this thing of council and go to become a Sangoma. Yeah, you can see things, my brother. But be as it may,
now people are going to say I must.
no, just as a Sangoma. Council Lo, I did not hear the director. What I wanted to understand, this item speaks to the same item which we are waiting for. Or it's a different
It's
item?
about how to use our water with it.
Okay. How far is that one? I don't see. It's
No,
not
I
on-
just want to finish this
Okay,
one.
okay.
Can we go with the item? Yes, we go with the item. Now, Director, after you finish with POSA, because you are close
Chair,
now.
sorry, quickly, Chair, my hand was up, man.
Okay,
My
sorry,
hand
you
was
can
up on the
ask.
previous item.
You can ask, Councillor Vale.
Just to comment, I did have a chat with the director. I think it is the same thing we spoke about. But there's also, I think it will be important. I see in the recommendation that certain organizations must now advise the municipality on where the appropriate sites will be. I think they need to also consult with the councillors as well in the ward committee, because, there are at least 2 sites in, for example, Smutsville that I know of now as we speak, where the honeysucker is driving, in the informal settlement, where the honeysucker is driving, or has to drive every day to clear it. It's an informal settlement, and this will be perfect for that. So I think, without going into all the details, continuous discussion, but I think we need to look at high impact solutions for this product, because, those are the type of things that we can. It's on a flat surface, flat ground, but I'll chat, Chair, through you to the director about that offline. because I actually think this is a major. This can be a major solution to that problem that we're currently having there. But thank you. Thanks for that, Chair. That's
Thanks,
all I want to
thanks.
say.
I just want to make one thing clear here, and to my directorate. When we're going to the wards, please inform the ward councillors, especially when you want to go and do administration work. I don't want to get a phone call when I'm on a funeral. Then someone is in the ward, but he was never informed as a ward councillor. So I ask you very nicely, my department, when you go into a ward, inform the ward councillor, even if you send him a WhatsApp message or email or SMS, so the ward councillor can know precisely. But I just want to say thank you. We have already adopted this one. The last thing that I want to say, just relax, we are finished. The last thing I want to say, after we are finished with this item, in the next meeting, I need a full report or item around emergency kit in Knysna. How many have we received? How many have we distributed? In which ward have we distributed these emergency kit? How many houses in these wards have burned down? So we can know precisely how we are dealing with that. So then the councillors can have it in front of them also. If government is going to give us, then we know precisely in Ward 1 or Skulpad Ward, there's 20 houses that have burned down, but we have allocated 5 to that area. So when we have that report, then we can distribute it to our councillors. And I don't want us now to have a debate around it. The meeting is adjourned. Thanks.
Thank you.
No, don't worry. That process director will answer you offline.